put something into your own mind where nobody else has impact on. And only you know that day in, day out, you just still walk this path and feel for yourself how it's getting real, because it's unbroken, because there's nobody who can interfere. It's all small things. Stay strong. Still keep going and supporting and helping despite of these things. Something that gives you real stability. Something that gives you real value in this life. You are becoming more mature. You are becoming more skillful in order to tackle the challenges of life. Sometimes you can't change people around you. But what you can do at all times, every day, is to do something about what is in your own hands. Yourself. Turn the finger around. Do something about yourself. Develop yourself. Invest in yourself. You grow as a human being. You grow in skills. All of these things, they will naturally just follow, because you are starting to express something that people nowadays are not seeing often anymore. You just become the magnet. Why? Because people are used already to average. Every day they see average. Yeah, but now they start to see something different. They start to see another attitude towards life. And so this feels, I think, like a magnet. Taking care of the mind. How do you do this? In order to know what is important to you, it's necessary also know unimportant things. It's not necessary 7 days a week to only do important things. What I mean is, you need balance. You consciously sometimes need to do something where you really feel this is really unimportant. Because it keeps something inside of you open. In our field, keep the body not just healthy, but watch out for methods to make your body really performant. For every person, there's the right time. There's nothing to hurry, nothing to worry. It's in each individual hands. So why do they fail at the moment? I could say because they haven't failed enough yet in order to make the next step. Or because they didn't see the lesson yet from that failure. There are so many different reasons why people do not continue. But it's just a question of time until they will. Switching the states of mind. Putting yourself consciously into different states of mind. There are different ways how you can put this into practice. It is super helpful if you learn to work in cycles. For example, when it comes to you need a new skill. You want to develop something. You need to learn how to use a new software program, to learn accounting, to learn to do the web page. You want to develop something new about you. The most effective way is to cut yourself off for a certain period of time and do nothing else in between. For that period, for that cycle. I don't think it is a good method within a 30-day month to spread it apart, to have too many things at the same time. Here you make that skill, here you make that, here you make another one. Of course, people say, yeah, but I can't concentrate on one. Well, concentrate on 3. Better on 3 than on 10. Because it's not just physically transforming, mental changes. And they just don't go so quickly if you jump too much. They don't penetrate deep enough for you to have a lasting impression of what it is that you're trying to develop there. Whatever vision and dream you have upon yourself, that you are projecting upon yourself, I do think that you need to have at the same time a commitment. The commitment, and what are you going to do with that identity of yours if you're going to get there? You are creating because you want to help. You are not creating any identity of yours in order to harm. I think if this is what your initial intention is, then I think the penalty will come. You might reach it in this lifetime, but if you bring this one to an end, if you continuously go there, you're going to be lonely. You're going to have everything you want. You're going to have everything that blinks. You have all the reputation. It's all great. Everything you ever dreamt of, you have it. What you don't have is something that gives you real stability, something that gives you real value in this life. I think it is something that can't be taken off from you. It is the connection to other fellows. It's a connection to humans, to animals, to this world, and ultimately the connection of this life. And what happens with this person if he only lives this way of life? He's going to repeat himself. What do I mean by repeating? I jump a little bit, but sometimes this life seems to me is like a video game. If you're at level 1 and continuously fail at level 1, you're never going to move up to level 2 and get into touch with the next challenges of life. So if somebody is still stuck on the material level of wanting this and that, so really materialistic, this is really the basic plane. This is like level 1. Sometimes it's necessary. You need to have it first. And then your relationship towards these things starts to shift. And suddenly you find yourself that now it's not these things anymore that start to matter to you. Now suddenly, since you're in level 2, now you're starting to ask yourself, okay, now it's not material things anymore, but I love my wife, I love my husband, I love my children, I love my dog, I love the jobs, I love my employees, but they are getting sick, they are starting to die away. This is now starting in level 2 to trouble you. So now it's the time, figure out a way, how do you walk through this lifetime, figuring out these challenges of life, that our ancestors lost people. Our future generations are going to lose beloved people. It's nothing new. How do you learn despite the fact of that is existing? How can you still find something about yourself to still keep going, stay strong, still keep going and supporting and helping despite of these things? And then maybe level 2, you manage to find a way for yourself. And then you're going to be exposed to the next type of challenges that this life is giving to you. So what I'm talking about is that I'm not sure if life is getting easier. I just think that you are becoming more mature. You are becoming more skillful in order to tackle the challenges of life. You travel into the world of your memories and you travel into everything that you are still able to recall in your mind that has happened in the past, when somebody hugged you, your father, your mother, your grandfather, your first girlfriend, your first boyfriend, it doesn't matter. Recall the situation where you think this was the greatest feeling I have ever felt when I hear about that word love. Recalling it again and now know maybe how it feels. And after you have this feeling, now you ask yourself, if something like this is existing and you would have the chance that the people in this world can choose in which state of being would you yourself personally would like to live, and what would you wish the others to live in? I think if you're intelligent, you will only come up with one answer, which is for all of them. This is the reason why out of that loving feeling arises what we call compassion, which means I know how great this feeling is. I know in which direction I would like to guide my life to finally have this feeling more in my life. Then you see people that are obviously sad, that are obviously having issues day in, day out, and busy with their mind, and you see how they are suffering. And because you see it and now have this direct comparison to yourself, this is why it becomes so much easier now that you are not going to act anymore out of ill will. So the ill will is only there because you are not at that level yet where you can stand above it. Easily said. Another thing to just keep in mind, no matter what type of emotion it is that we are sometimes feeling, is you don't take decisions while you are emotional. If we are really not talking about physical attack, then I think it's very easily expressed that we are right now in the field of Buddhist teachings or Zen teachings, which means it is about the mind. We are only talking right now about psychological aspects. And every confrontation that you are feeling inside the mind, for me personally, what it means is if something is resonating and is still triggering me, mentally and therefore also emotionally. The only thing it means is that is one of the next areas I need to learn to adjust. The reason why they are there is to show you your weakness.
What was the biggest inner enemy that you faced and overcame, or you're still in the practice of overcoming?
It seriously is still the 5 hindrances, because it is just something common. For example, one of the next hindrances is laziness, very easily. The lack of energy, meaning you have great ideas, you have great plans, all of this, but the spark to put you under fire is just not there. I think it's a combination of the way of life people have lived before and the lack of vision, what lies in front of them. Both of these things. Not always is just like the physical appearance of that laziness, of that dullness, of that heaviness. It's apparent. But why is it there? And this has so many different variations now when you look into the past. It can really be because of the food that you're eating, because the lack of movement that you're having, because of your habits, whatever type of habit it is that cause you to now end up in that body which is at the moment pretty inefficient to generate fire. So you ended up where you are, unhappy right now, but you say you didn't do it. So who you want to blame right now? And what does it ultimately mean? It means that the last 40 years, who was running your life then? You don't need to travel the world and look for somebody above there and worship them. You should, in a way, bring out your own best version or the master. You're doing similar things that at some point maybe a robot could do. The whole life, the whole daily structure starts to follow patterns. There is no freedom anymore. It is a pattern. You're being driven. You are a part of a wheel, part of a system, just a small one. But there's no chance for you to sometimes just get out and do something beyond that. So the longer you feel trapped inside the system and just are functioning, you're just functioning, you're living a functional life. But when you're out there walking in the garden or walking in the forest, there is nothing that the forest and the nature needs from you. You don't need to function when you walk through the forest. The only thing you need to do is realize that's what it is. Welcome to existence. There is nothing to add to this. There is nothing to change about this. It is just about the realization. That is it. And the less of this type of moments you have in your life, and the more you're like functioning, I would say these are the indications you're being driven. Well, without it, we for sure wouldn't be here. Yeah? But my definition, or right now the understanding of the nature, was really on a vast scale. The only reason to change anything about our life would be if that change that we are looking for is resulting in the fact that we're gonna feel better. We usually wouldn't go for any type of change knowing it's gonna make us feel worse than where we are right now. So the whole idea is changing for the better. So now the question, where you are finding yourself right now, you say you want to change to the better. It expresses to me, you need to become light, you need to become free, and you need to liberate from the things that are holding you down. So first question right now is, what is it that is weighing down on you? And if it is what happened to you in the past, well, you need to solve it. Whether you take responsibility for it or not, the fact is, there is something, it's still weighing down on you, and it needs to be solved. And this is the way why sometimes we say, in order to become light, sometimes we need to look very, very deep, where it looks dark, where the light hasn't been placed upon yet inside of yourself. And going even deeper, there is even something where you yourself maybe don't even want to go there anymore. Because you know it's going to crash the own view that you have upon yourself until now. But this is the only way in order to make everything that is dark and heavy inside of you to start becoming light. You need to shine the light where it hasn't been before. Can you do this without staying humble? You can't. If you think you're the best already, you won't do this. You are still nourishing the illusion. Yeah? And you are pretending and not wanting to actually look into what is it you really went through this lifetime. Only when you start to see the whole complex and everything, the light and the dark, the heavy, when you see everything that brought you here. Now, with that roadmap, you see where you come from. You see what is it that has shaped you. You can see how did all of these circumstances, situations, what was the consequence you still carry until the way of how you take decisions nowadays. Why are there certain words, why are there certain topics that when somebody starts to even mention that word, something inside of you starts to pop up? All of this is, there are processes which are still running our life, whether they are unconscious or somewhere happening in the subconscious, but they are there. There are patterns, there are cycles, there are repetitive things that keep popping up in your life. And it's the question if you at some point want to break out of the cycle. And this can only be done in the moment where you start to learn and understand what is it to live a life more aware and more based on being conscious about what you do and removing everything from these unconscious layers. Yes, and it's a journey. The understanding will change throughout your journey, really depending on how profound is your view upon your life and the life around you. How profound are you living this type of life? And so it really means it changes from person to person. I can't tell to somebody this is what it means for you. It's up to you to put in your thoughts. What does it mean to you? What is sure is that everybody has always been given the possibilities to change something. The other truth is, at some point when you're oblivious about things and you just really you don't want to see, you can't see it, then the signs sometimes become bigger. And then at some point it could even happen that something is going to occur which will make you change. If you want or not, it is going to make you change. You will have no choice anymore. You had the choices before, but you didn't use them. And this is why sometimes I talk about this ability to really listen a little bit carefully. Sometimes it is like this. We take the most recent example, like before a burnout happens, your body told you way before that something is not okay. Sometimes in this book, for example, I mentioned like different 14 virtues. Try to just be a good human. Be a good human. Or if you like to play this visual game, we look into the world and there's so many things to complain about. There's so much like to complain what goes wrong and how should somebody behave and how should humanity be. Okay, what would be your ideal representation on a human being on this earth if you had the chance to create that human? How would that be? And then slowly you really start to do your own research and start to understand which is the most harmonious way to create what you feel like can be created. And if this is the type of foundation where you start to feel that in a way we are all connected, when you don't view yourself as an individual who is fighting against the rest of the 8 billion people, In the moment this happens, when the connection is being established, decisions will be different, the way of how you think will be different, and ultimately, hopefully, translating into some positive impact for the next generation, the next one. Feelable, visible change with the proper practices easily in 21 days. But 21 days also meaning 21 days of no excuse. Schedule something you stick to. It doesn't mean 21 days and within the 21 days like only on the weekend. This is a very simple thing. It can be 15 squats in the morning and 15 or 10 push-ups also. And then you start now every morning 8 o'clock until 8:15. This is what you do. It is a super easy task. No, it sounds like an easy task. But you will realize sometimes you wake up, even if you know it's doable, but still the mind like starts to drift away and finds excuses why it's better to not do it now at 8. You will do it later when you come home. No, you won't. The simple fact of really how disciplined can you be with such a simple thing. 15 squats and 15 push-ups for the next 21 days. At least prove this to yourself that you can do it. It's a very simple one. And then, now we talk about physicality, which is already a good part. And then, another 21-day cycle of 21 days of consciously spending 10 minutes only trying to improve your breath. 10 minutes, 21 days. And at some point, and this is what happens to many martial art practitioners or people who get along this way, they actually realize, actually all of these things make me feel better. I slowly feel the improvement coming, but not just that the improvements in different areas start to come. You also simply start to understand that it is consistency and that willingness of what you want in your life. You need to maintain it. You can't let it slip. And you can't live an emotionally based life that even though you placed a plan, that you throw that plan away just because you don't feel like it today. Using the physical training in order to use it as a bridge for your own individual and personal development of building yourself up again. This is what the power of all of this is. No matter who, no matter how holy sometimes I look, I have my dark moments of the past. And I made mistakes in the past. You need to clean that. You need to clean your past. Because if there's any type of debris, any type of weight still lingering inside of our own life, you cannot move on in a clear and clean way. So ultimately, the way to self-mastery, the self-assessment, the self-observation, with what aim? To clean yourself from the roles that you started creating in this lifetime. To clean yourself from the identity you started investing so much effort and energy in order to maintain it. And all of this taken together, meaning in a way also, in the moment you understand what is your source and what is your essence, the view on this world becomes different. The way of how you live your life, the way how you interact with people in this lifetime starts to tremendously change in the moment where you are starting to understand that we all play a role. And it's time for some people that they don't want to play the role anymore, because the role is always limiting you to something that you in essence are not. That's why the role, keeping up the identity, keeping up the personality, this persona at some point becomes unbearable because it is pressurizing you. And that is the sign for me, somebody's telling you, this role that you're playing, it's becoming too small for what you really are. the idea is when right now the only thing you are doing the whole day long is sleeping, eating, sitting in the office, coming home. Without knowing you, I can tell your body is unhappy. Your body is unhappy, and together with the fact of your body is not being used properly, you don't have a good connection to your body. You don't have a good connection to your body. You don't know what the signals of the body are. You can't communicate with the body. You're missing out on very, very subtle signs. Signs of, does your body feel well? What does your body need? Are you overstressing the body? Do you need more rest? Is it time to regenerate? Is your diet right? Is your diet wrong? All of these things, healthy body carries the possibility for healthy mind. This is why the emphasis of very basic breathing techniques, standing practice, mobility practice, just warming up, joint exercises, that is just to get some awareness back into the body. In, out. So at some point, the breath and the body start to move in harmony. So, and this is where in the field of martial arts, we talk about that now when this type of connection starts to happen, energy, breath, and body start to work now together. Whatever your body is doing, it's not doing it superficially. It's doing it also filled up with the proper energy. So now, the helpful aspect about the breath is also that we are able to actually connect our mind to the breath. So which ultimately meaning where the breath is, there your mind is. Where you place the mind, where you place the attention, this is where the energy goes. I place my attention somewhere else, my energy goes somewhere else. And this is the reason why when I sit here, when I'm physically here, my energy is also here. Because if not, if you are physically sitting here, but your attention is somewhere else, it's a hollow shell. And it feels differently. And if I walk through the city, I know when I walk. When I talk, I know I talk. When I do a movement, I know I do the movement. When I work, I work. When I sleep, I sleep. When I eat, I eat. You do things in harmony. You do things as a one unit. You don't sit here and think about the holidays. Then you travel to the holidays, but you are thinking about work. This is the type of, you see, it's conflicting because you have too many misaligned areas of your life. So now, previously, I tried to explain a little bit this general idea of the approach. Simplify your life. Yeah. So the more separated you see things in your life, the more complicated it is to manage all of it. And it can be expressed and really trained and felt just by like this inhale, exhale. At some point, it even becomes that you really feel that the mind also actually starts to arrive in the present moment. Meaning, why is it so important? Because a lot of stress is also related to the fact of you are sitting here, but the mind is dwelling about something from the past. Or your body is here, but the mind is jumping into the worries of the future. So already a big part of de-stressing yourself is remain more in the present moment. This is already one way to integrate. Second thing is, let's assume you don't do these movements. Nevertheless, it is a practice to always observe yourself and catch yourself directly. When the mind is starting to create his next illusion in order to make you suffer. Whether you walk in London streets and then start to dwell about something, but ask yourself why. Does it change anything for you to now dwell on something that already happened? Do you have an influence on that or not? So the regulation of thoughts is a very important aspect along this line. There are people who have a lot of impact, regardless of what type of source. It really is a lot, but they in a way still can maintain, but it's the pressure. They're still maintaining and functioning with the pressure on them. This is one type of person. But there are also other people who break with the first challenge, who don't have any type of resilience at all. So first of all, the question is, what type of being are you? When I think about myself, I have very stressful days, and based on my education and on my training, I'm simply able to endure for a long time and remaining inside being pressurized. My problem is that at some point, even me, I need a valve. But I'm able to let things build up. So it has positive things, it also has negative things. But in general, living this life is not easy. So it starts with that fact. It's not that you're getting born and now can expect that everything is going to bow to you and give you a beautiful life. No, in a way, at least this is my observation, at some point, sometimes you also have to express the willingness to sacrifice something about you to get what you want. Now, everybody wants something. But the question is if you are actually also willing to sacrifice what is needed to get what you want. And in the same way, it goes now with the ability of taking the workload, taking the pressure, taking the critics, taking the conflicts. So somewhere along the line, the ability to regulate yourself in a world that tries to bend you. This is what it is. It will never happen that you walk through this lifetime and everybody's gonna bow to you. It's not gonna happen. No matter how good you think you live your life, what you have brought to the world, there will always be something or someone. There will be a natural force that is always testing you. If you are able to remain straight, to really practice, even if you feel like, okay, this is now really, really unfair. Yeah, internally you feel, I actually don't deserve this conversation right now. Yeah. And you still receive it all. But this is exactly it. What would the majority of the people nowadays do? It feels unfair, get angry, and boom, express the same way. You have seen it, everybody has done it. It is never the solution. It never was, it never will be. So what is the way? There were struggles our parents had to deal with. Some struggles they started transcending and overcome them. Other struggles they kept and were not able to overcome them. What our parents couldn't solve is your problem now. What my parents couldn't solve, it's someone from our family who needs to solve it. And when I now know, my next generation is already walking on this earth. The more I can solve, when I know what are my problems in this world, I don't do it for me. I do it for my next generation, because I know what I will not solve in this lifetime, he will have to do it.
Yeah.
What's life's purpose? Pass on your best version to the next.